Hey, what's up, everybody? This is GJ7. Yeah, so apparently we had the Al Smith dinner tonight for the candidates. They were roasting each other. Anyway, so that was happening. Actually, I wanted to talk yesterday about the final debate yesterday. I don't know. I mean, I want to hear what your take is. So, drop me a comment down in drop your thoughts down in the comment section, and I'll look at that. I don't know. My take on it is that as much as the mainstream media, or a lot of the mainstream media, is basically congratulating itself over the fact that they managed to finally squash Trump, I don't think they've heard the lot. I don't think they've heard the last of it. Is it a little bit alarming that he's saying that he won't concede if he loses? Well, yeah, it is, but you also have to understand that in context of it, what he's doing is not entirely unprecedented. If you go back to the disputed election of actually, think of the election of what happened back at the turn of the millennium. Yeah, I mean, literally, the millennial presidential vote. What happened with that? Oh, gee, they went back and forth, until finally the Supreme Court said, no, it's Bush. Yeah. So there's a little bit of precedent for that. Plus, the last time it got, I would say this idiotic, other than that rather interesting election at the turn of the millennium, is the one from 1876. Yeah, the centennial election. Yeah. I would encourage you all to read about it. Either you can go on Wikipedia, you can go to Encyclopedia Britannica, you can look anywhere for it. The point is that, look, read about it, read a lot of the sources that have been, where they've been quoting from and such, and take that for what it is. Yeah, so, like, as I said, it's better if you approach what you're about to see with a little bit of some historic context, so this way at least you can cut through some of the propaganda that Hillary and Hillary's campaign, along with a good chunk of the corporate press, are going to be throwing down, as well as some progressive, quote-unquote, progressive press releases. Anyhow, so yeah, there's that. Another thing that I wanted to tell you about is the thing with the whole deal with Hillary threatening war with Russia, basically, which is, if you've read any of the recent Wikileaks that have come out, you'll see exactly what the heck I'm talking about, where she's basically threatening a war with Russia if they don't heal to, basically, if Vladimir Putin doesn't heal to her will, meaning that basically if he doesn't roll over and give up Assad, she'll lob one right in the men's room in the Kremlin. Repeat after me. That is exceedingly stupid. As I said, Hillary's president, a presidency under Hillary would be a disaster waiting to happen. And you thought Bush was bad? Trust me, she makes Bush look sane. That's how crazy Hillary is. She's listening to the same guys that advised, George Walker, as well as George Herbert Walker Bush, and to a limited extent Ronald Reagan too. Yep, and these are the same people that used to back Jack Kennedy, Yeah, it's these quote unquote kill the Russians or blame. Let's blame. Oh, I blame the Russians because there's they're trying to get you. No. Okay. Look at my blog. I put 2 posts up basically debunking Hillary's conspiracy theories about how the Russians are trying to rig the election, or the Russians are trying to undermine her coronation, basically. Is I think a better way to put it than, or her and the Democrats trying to rig the election in her favor. Yeah, or basically how they're undermining, her ability to get the, to win the election with successfully. Anyway, sorry, I know. TMI. History guy going. This is my mind going around in terms of history and such, so bear with me, folks. Anyway, what I would actually advise you to do is, if you're really worried about, Russia or the Russians basically sending nukes at us in response, or that if Donald Trump is basically the loose cannon that they say he is, look, I've said this, I don't know how many times on my Facebook page. I don't know how many times on my blog, how many times on YouTube, how many other times, like whenever or whatever platform. The point is, Trump is not the disaster that he's being made out to be. In terms of foreign policy. In terms of foreign policy, yeah, he is getting it 100% correct. I'm not saying that we should be going back into a new phase of isolationism. That's not going to do us any good. But the fact is that if we're going into debt by subsidizing the world's defense budget and by putting over 50% of our discretionary spending into the military, what do you think is going to happen? That's kind of where he's coming from. But in terms of all the racist bullshit and such, no. But that's one of the main things that kind of disqualifies him in my eyes. The other thing that also disqualifies him is the fact that he's pretty much shown himself to be completely incompetent. Think of all the times of where you're like, there's a major issue that you want to, get his take on, or where he's coming from with something. On some issues, he can't give a straight answer. But on the other things, though, especially like when it comes to making a decision, he doesn't stick to whatever decision he makes. So that's a bit of a problem. The other thing you gotta also think about, especially when it comes to these two, is that, look, I know U.S.-Russian relations right now are almost at a low point, and I mean an even worse point than when the Cold War ended back in 1991. You want to understand what's going on with the other side and why the two of us are basically have very high contempt for each other. You want to understand the Russian side? Okay, I'm going to suggest you do 2 things. Number 1, you have any Russian-speaking friends, or someone in your family is, dating somebody who is Russian, or, or for those that are native, basically, if you know somebody who's a native Russian speaker and they get, Russian TV or something, half the time they're going to get Russian news, and so you want to get the Russian perspective, talk to them. That's number 1. Number 2 is that you might want to go to some experts who are, and I mean real experts who either know, one, a lot of the history behind what is going on, especially between our two countries, that would be one thing. Or basically somebody who, or someone who's a known expert, especially in Russian politics. Just like, and I'm going to say this also for my Russian viewers, is that, listen, you want to know why everything is going on from the American side? You have any American friends? Talk to them. I'm serious. Just talk to your American friends, just to try to get their perspective on it. Because there's two sides to this, and it's better if both sides actually try to understand where the other is coming from. But also, there's a couple of experts that I know personally that are really good in terms of just in terms of either the history or some of the foreign policy aspects in terms of, working with them. One, of course, is Anthony D'Agostino, who's a professor of history and a well-published one for that matter at San Francisco State University. The other one that I know, I kind of met him, but I haven't spoken with him, not on a one-on-one basis. The guy's name is Andrei Tsygankov. He teaches Russian politics at San Francisco State University. I know there's a video of him on YouTube, him talking to him basically on the PBS Newshour, going up and down, like what's coming at it from the Russians, what's going on in terms of the political situation over in Russia. Smart guy. I would definitely watch that video and share it with your friends. The guy is a real expert in this. First of all, he is Russian, but yeah, but you could kind of tell from the name. Anyway, yeah, so there's that. I'll put the link below in the description. I want you to watch it, and if you find something interesting about it and you want to tell me about it, leave me a comment. So yeah, I know I'm not going to claim out and out that I'm a official expert in terms of Russian history, Russian foreign policy. I'm not saying that. I'm not a full-blown expert. I'm kind of a, I don't know, like maybe mini expert on that. I don't have a lot of expertise on it. I know a little bit, but whatever. Anyway, that's beside the point. The point is that, look, if you really want to understand and try to look into the future about, making sure that these kinds of scenarios do not escalate, watch the video. I'll put it below. I'll give you both names, and you should look them up, look at what they published, and I'm also going to include the two most recent links that I have debunking basically Hillary's propaganda. I'll put that below in the description. And I believe that might be, I don't know, maybe I don't. No, I think that's about it. Other than what I had said before with the, with all the people that are, especially if you really want to look at the look at it from basically all sides, especially if you're gonna try to look it up on Wikipedia. I would say, I'm gonna tell you this much: look at their sources, and then make that judgment call yourself. Anyway, so I'm gonna leave it at that. So in the meantime, I'm gonna cut it here. So this is JGSF 1987 out in those of you who don't know me, I'm a writer and blogger. To see my latest posts and to see what I'm up to, go to my blog site, jgsf1987.com. Also, thanks for watching. If you like this, subscribe, and let your friends and family know about this. Anyway, thanks again. This is JGSF 1987, and I am out of here.